About tonight, so let's bring in Senator Lindsey Graham, who we are very happy to have with us live tonight in London. Senator Graham, always good to see you. Thank you very much for being here. We are in London.
What time is it?
It's midnight here, okay, but it's 7 p.m. East Coast time, and I'm thrilled that you're able to go over all of this because it was just a very, very full day, which we just laid out there. It sure was.
Fascinating.
So what did you make of, let's start first with the sort of the flip-flop that we demonstrated there with what he said to the Sun. I gave her advice. She didn't take it. And it wasn't really advice. It was more of a suggestion.
I think it ended very well. So NATO, he goes into NATO saying, y'all a bunch of slackers and you need to pay more. And at the end, they had a joint communique where they said this is a vital, strategic, important relationship to the United States and the world. And they're paying more. He leaves here tonight, I think, with probably the best relationship I've seen with him and Prime Minister May. And he goes to Russia with the wind to his back.
Do you think she was sad that it was over, though? Or do you think she was waving from the tarmac, like, bye, see you next time?
It's always good to see the president. It's probably good to see him leave. Quite frankly, I think his performance with her today was the most presidential news conference he's had. It did get a little rocky with the Sun interview, but I feel good about what he said regarding her and about our relationship, special on steroids. But I really feel good about how NATO ended. We're going to meet Putin now with NATO stronger than it was before, and we're going to go in to meet Putin with May's blessing and a firm relationship between us and the United Kingdom. That's a pretty good way to approach Putin.
It was interesting reading some of the comments by the MPs, and as we have seen in those parliament meetings, they go after each other pretty hard.
Unlike Congress, where we're always so nice.
Exactly. You're my good friend from South Carolina, right? So one of the conservative MPs said that the president was determined to insult her, that it was a divisive dog whistle rhetoric that was repulsive when he talked about changing how immigration is changing the fabric of Europe. So all of that could mean that Theresa May, although she had a good relationship, I guess, at the end with the president, she's going to face a tough audience at home.
I think she handled herself very well, and I think it ended on a good note. They went to see a joint military exercise. They talked about a special relationship at the highest level. So at the end of the day, I think these were two successful engagements, even though they were rocky. NATO's going to pay more. We leave here, the United Kingdom, firmly together, and now we're going to Putin.
I want to play, before we move on from the Brexit and London part of the story, what he said about Boris Johnson, who at this point is a man waiting in the wings. And I would hazard to guess that the president had some input from Boris Johnson before he came here in terms of, well, this is what I think is going on here. Let's play the soundbite on Boris Johnson.
I was very saddened to see that he was leaving government. And I hope he goes back in at some point, because I think he's a great representative for your country. Well, I'm not pitting one against the other. I'm just saying I think he'd be a great prime minister. I think he's got what it takes. They asked about Boris Johnson. I said, how would he be as a prime minister? I said, he'll be a great prime minister. He's been very nice to me. He's been saying very good things about me as president. I think he thinks I'm doing a great job. I am doing a great job. That I can tell you, just in case you haven't noticed.
Guess what? It came back to him at the end. Isn't that surprising?
Well, I like Boris Johnson. He really is one of my best friends in politics throughout the world, and I think he would be a good prime minister. But we're talking about Theresa May today. I thought the president gave her high praise, said that she was tough. He'd rather have her on his side than her being an enemy. I thought he was very gracious to her. And now on to Putin. We got NATO stronger, not weaker. We've got a good send-off here in Great Britain. And people back home who say that he shouldn't meet with Putin, our president, I agree with Theresa May. He should go to Russia. He should go to Finland and meet with Putin. And he should define what a better relationship looks like.
Well, let's take a look. He was asked a little bit about, what he was going to be discussing when he went to the Putin meeting. Can we play that?
I know you'll ask, will we be talking about meddling? And I will absolutely bring that up. I don't think you'll have any, gee, I did it, you got me. There won't be a Perry Mason here, I don't think, but you never know what happens, right? But I will absolutely, firmly ask the question.
The Perry Mason reference might have been lost on some of the folks in the British audience, but everybody else knew what the president meant there.
Yeah, well, here's the bottom line. Russia didn't beat Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump did. Russia did interfere in our election. And if I were the president, I would not ask Putin, did you do it? I would reject his denial. I know you did it, and if you continue to do it, we'll never have a good relationship. I desire a good relationship, but you got to stop meddling in our elections. You got to stop helping the Taliban in Afghanistan. You got to stop propping up Assad and helping Iran. You've got to be a better world citizen.
He's a very difficult person to deal with, Vladimir Putin. When the president goes in there, and you've been very outspoken in your message to the president on this, you say he is not your friend.
Right.
And if you don't go in there with that perspective, he could engineer the conversation.
I have a lot of
faith
in President Trump. You know, Bush misread Putin. Putin ran over Obama because he was so weak in the eyes of President Putin. President Trump needs to convince President Putin that he wants a better relationship, but things have to change to get it. And at the end of the day, Putin doesn't respect Trump, this will be a failed summit. I believe that President Trump is going to lay out what a good relationship will look like and challenge Putin to get there. And if he fails to get there, that Trump's going to convince him, unlike Bush, unlike Obama, you'll pay a price on my watch. That's what I predict.
So the big question is, what's the goal with Putin? What does he want to get out of it? What's the leverage? What's the exchange? How do you see that working?
To tell him if you continue to meddle in elections in the United States, there'll never be a good relationship. Help me contain Iran, because Iran is a menace to the Mideast. Stop helping the Taliban. Let's fight ISIS together. Get Assad out of Syria and put somebody in Syria that we both can work with. Change your behavior to get a good relationship. Be tough. When he met Kim Jong-un, the only reason he met him is I think Kim Jong-un believes that military force would be used by Trump if he had to. He's got to convince Putin that there's a better relationship available between the United States and Russia, but here are the terms and conditions, and if you fail to meet those terms and conditions, I'm going to be your worst enemy. I could be your best friend, but I could be your worst enemy. And if Putin doesn't believe that, that will be a mistake. All
right, Rod Rosenstein came out today and leveled an indictment against 12 members of the Russian intelligence agencies and the military. It happened right as the president was landing in Windsor. What's the impact of that news on this meeting?
Means nothing to me. I know the Russians did it. It was the Russians that hacked into the DNC, that got Clinton's emails, that got Podesta's emails. People in your business are going to have to decide, do you empower a foreign government when they hack into a political party in the United States going forward? So I didn't learn anything. I want President Trump to go to meet Putin. I want a better relationship. But when Putin says, I didn't do it, I want President Trump to say, I reject that denial. You did do it, and my friend, if you continue to do it, and they're coming after Republicans in 2018, nothing would please Russia more than chaos in America. The Democrats get the House, and we at each other's throats. So I worry about their meddling in 2018.
Do you think the Russians are meddling in the midterm election in order to for the Republicans to lose the House?
Well, we could lose without Russia being involved, but just think about it. There's fake news being pushed, truly fake news, in these competitive seats. Our intelligence agency says that Russia's still up to it. And I think President Trump's got to let him know that if you keep doing this, we'll never have a good relationship. Russia didn't beat Clinton. Trump beat Clinton. But President Trump, I want you to understand, Putin's not your friend. He's not the friend of democracy. He needs to fear you and respect you for us to have a good relationship.
Interesting. Senator Lindsey Graham, thank you. Very good to have you live with us in London. We're lucky that you happen to be here, and always good to see you. Thank you.